All right.
Welcome, guys. So today we've got one of the other members of the Working Theatre Group Writers Roundtable. His name's Chris. Hey, how's it going, Chris?
How's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good, good. Just realizing I kind of look like a priest with this shirt on.
You actually do. You actually do.
All right.
Put your hair just away. So, Chris, we met. When did we met at Strasbourg, didn't we?
Yeah, 2010, I think so, around there.
2010. I never really spoke to you in the first year, did I?
I don't think we had any classes together.
No,
I think
no, I don't think we had any classes at all. Did we?
No, because you didn't have 100 eyes, did you? No, so I don't think we did.
Milazzo hated me. I couldn't do that class. He kicked me out one of the classes he did. I can't remember what it was. Cinema, I think, or something. I can't remember what it was, but basically he didn't like me in the first place, and then he was like, if you're late 3 times, you get kicked out. And then the third time I was late, right, I woke up early, everything, right? And then it was snowing, and I caught the train, the 6th train to 85th, changed that 85th. No, did I change 85th, 86th? Changed that 86, express train, got to 59, so it stopped, and it was like, where the train's being held up by signals, and I'm like, fuck. So it was like 8:45. My class was at 9, and then I got out at 59th Street, went outside, tried to hail a cab, right? Waited 15 minutes in the snow trying to hail a cab. Nobody would stop for me. And then it was like 5 to 9 o'clock. And I was like, do you know what? There's no point even me going in because he's just going to kick me out. And then I just took a train back home and went to sleep. And then Nikki texted me. She's like, well, I guess you kicked out, asshole. And I was like, well, it's nothing I can do. And then yeah. So that wasn't good. But yeah, we met more second year, didn't we? Start hanging out a little bit more. You obviously knew Alex.
Yeah, because me and Alex had a few classes together, so we started hanging out, and then I met him through you.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, me and Alex were like, first year we met, and we were like really good friends, and then we kind of, he was like my cool little.
Yeah, because you came in like a semester or two after me. You know, I was with the previous sort of batch of students.
Yeah, you were in September, like, weren't you? And then I came in January.
Well, I actually started in May because I did a summer session for NYU. So I did 3 months with NYU, and I chose Strasbourg as the conservatory. You were talking about that in one of the other interviews.
Yeah.
When you go to NYU, you have to choose the conservatory you want to go to. And I chose Strasbourg, and then after the 3 months, I decided to change to the conservatory because, the NYU is expensive as hell. And
and you get the same education, don't you? And then with Strasbourg Direct, I guess you can pick your teachers, whereas all the NYU kids, they were given their schedule.
Yeah, I mean, the NYU one I think is 4 years.
It is,
but I think you go to different sort of conservatories. It's different, and you get grades. We didn't get grades.
No, that's it. Yeah.
So there were a lot of factors. It was 2 years instead of 4 years. Cheaper.
Yeah, that's good. And then we met there. And then did you do OPT?
Yeah, I stayed there. I didn't last the whole year. I left before.
Okay. How come? What was your experience of OPT?
Well, because I had to do jobs, catering jobs and these sorts of jobs that I did them and they paid well, but it wasn't always constant. So those months that I had no gigs, and obviously no acting gigs either, it was hard, man. It was hard because New York is expensive as hell, and unless you want to sleep on a bench, or
you don't fancy Central Park.
No.
Well,
I come from a warm habitat, man. I could not survive in a park, man.
Oh shit.
But I made a decision and came back home, and then I went to Argentina because I wanted to further my studies. I felt like I needed more training. Yeah. And I remember some of my teachers, Paul Calderon. He told me, keep on studying, don't finish it here. And that was good advice, I think. And I kept on going, went to Argentina.
I think you should you should continue to kind of educate, I guess, rather than stop, because you've obviously got loads more to learn throughout your career and stuff. And I think it's good to, alongside,
for sure.
Alongside, I think.
I mean, that's why I'm writing as well. I want to get, I'm not just satisfied with acting. I want to learn how to direct. This is in my plans in the future. I want to learn how to the whole process of making a movie. I want to be able to do it all I know I can't do it all myself, but I want to know how to do it all myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good idea too, and then you kind of can create your own work rather than wait for the phone to ring.
Right.
So that's always good as well. So yeah, so we'll jump straight into it, Chris. And then also, you moved to London, didn't you, as well? And we hung out loads when you were in London, and we worked together as well. Do you remember that? That was fun.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, I lived in the DR. I had an office job in the DR, and then, you know, the longer I spent in these office jobs, the more I realized that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I went to London.
And then,
because of my European passport, I wouldn't have that visa problem that I had in the States.
Exactly, yeah. And then we did promo work together with Pepsi, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was good fun. And then we traveled around and toured around and stuff, so that was good. And then yeah, that was it. That's like the go-to job, I think, for a lot of actors and a lot of artists in the UK. And that's a good place to kind of meet your actors and like-minded people as well, which is quite cool as well. Yeah. It
gives you more freedom. You know, your schedule. It's you know, you have more time to sort of, you can manage your own time. It's sort of like you're freelance.
Yeah, you are, exactly. And it's funny
because they call you and you can always say no. You know, I can't work this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like on the outside, people are like, what the hell do you do? Like, how do you do it? And I'm like, you just kind of like book jobs. It's like gigging basically, ain't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. And then, right, should we jump straight into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've obviously sent you the questions. I don't know if you got them all. You said you didn't, right? Or you don't read. I know. Actually, I sent them to you. You didn't read them. So this is going to be interesting. So the first kind of section, we'll do inside the Acting Studio questions. It was the questionnaire that Bernard Pivot came up with years ago, and then James Lipton obviously adopted it and used it for the Inside the Acting Studio. And I think it's a good exercise to kind of get creative juices flowing and just kind of, just little interesting details about yourself, Chris. So yeah, let's go from that. So what's your favorite word?
My favorite word. You know, I'm basically just gonna make one up because I don't have a favorite word.
Okay. What's the one that comes to mind?
Shit. I mean, shit.
That's it. You got it there. Okay, cool. What's your least favorite word?
Is there a specific reason why these people ask these questions? It's a weird.
I don't know. It's just a questionnaire, Chris. I have no idea.
Okay, least favorite word. Racist.
Okay, cool. And what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I guess originality.
Okay, that's good. What turns you off?
Fakeness or phoniness.
Yes, that's the worst thing in the world, I think. What's your favorite curse word? You don't really swear either. Nobody I've interviewed is like a proper I've probably got the worst, foulest mouth out of everyone, I think. What's your favorite curse word? Just the worst, foulest mouth.
Oh.
That's what I got out. What's your favorite curse word?
Well, I like the British knob jockey expression. You showed me that one because it really paints an image, you know. I had no idea what a fucking jockey was, and you're like, what? The jockey is the guy that rides the horses. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Oh my god. What sound or noise do you love?
What?
Sound or noise do you love?
Laughter.
That's good. What sound or noise do you hate?
You remember that screeching, like when you put your nails against a whiteboard or a blackboard? I'm sorry. That screeching noise.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I hated that shit.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I always liked medicine. I always liked architecture, music.
Mm-hmm.
A musician would have been great. Music.
As a singer or a musician?
More like like an audio producer or audio technology, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Ah, cool. And then, what profession would you not like to attempt?
Mm, I have no fucking idea. Shit, I don't know.
I think most
Oh,
actors would.
you know what? Psychologist. A psychologist. Because I always love psychology as a subject, but having to listen to a motherfucker just complain, man.
Wasn't that what Strasbourg was anyway?
I mean, and you gotta listen, but listening is hard, man. You know, and listen to some motherfucker because you have to listen to them. You know.
Yeah.
It's different than listening to someone because you're interested in them as a character. You know, that I can do. You know, until I get tired of it, and then I you know.
What about when people are doing like sense memory and then they would just like go into shit and you're like, is this therapy? What's going on?
Well, it kind of is therapy.
It is, I think so, yeah. And final question: if heaven exists, what would you like What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You got a light? No, I don't know.
That's fine. That's good. That's fine. It doesn't have to be anything philosophical. It's just anything. And that's yeah. That was interesting. That's those questions. And then we'll kind of move on to where acting. How did you find it? You hated that, didn't you?
How do I find what?
How did you find those questions? You hated them, didn't you?
Oh man, I hated them. I hated them. You know, you got to do things you don't like sometimes in life, and sometimes it's good to go out of your comfort zone. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to stop being defensive about things that I don't like.
Uh-huh.
You know, and, just do them. But it's fine. You know, I'm not liking it.
Yeah. Okay. Off the back of what you said, I'm going to look into why he came up with these questions and what was the point of them.
Because I'm sure there's a reason why he asked you. It's like a psychologist, you know, when a psychologist asks you, draw a tree in a blank piece of paper. Yeah. Depending on if you put the tree on the edge of the paper versus if you put the tree in the center of the paper and the size of the tree, all this says a lot about you, apparently, about your psyche. Mm-hmm. So there is a psychological reason behind it, I guess.
I'm going to look into
it. Or maybe it's just to get the ball rolling. Maybe it's just to start with easy questions to sort of get a base.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking of a lie detector test where they ask you, are you a man? And you got to say, yeah. You know, like obviously, but, you know, you got to.
Maybe I'm going to look into it. I'll report back what I find. So, yeah, let's kind of move on to you and your journey, I guess, within the arts. Where did it all start for you? When was your moment where you were like, I'm going to become an actor?
I wanted to do something with music before. You know, I wanted to see audio technology. This was my thing when I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
But I always wanted to. I had acted before. You know, I did a TV movie when I was like 12 years old. And I loved the experience. I used to do theater in school, and I loved the feeling. You know, I had never felt anything like that. I still remember that first scene I did in front of a school, in front of, I don't know, the parents were there and the teachers, and everybody was shocked because I was supposed to be sort of a teacher, and I had to tell a girl to shut up. You know, I remember my line was, "Shut up, Jane."
Was it clear?
No, it was in English. It was in English. I went to a bilingual school. So yeah, it was "Shut up, Jane," and I remember it was a great feeling, you know, exhilarating. It was something because I was always a very introverted, shy kid, so that sort of came out of me out of nowhere, and I felt something that I hadn't felt ever. I think it's like, you know, when you watch these movies and when you listen to these songs, you know, music is one of my passions. So these things sort of they change you in a way, and I wanted to follow that. I wanted to follow that because I felt it was what I had to do, you know. And I was studying business administration in Dominican Republic, and I got drunk with a friend of mine one day. He's a writer, and he was studying business administration as well. We didn't like what we were doing. We felt unfulfilled, and we each decided to just go to New York. You know, he was going to pursue writing, and I was going to pursue acting. And I think that day, was sort of where everything changed. You know, I started working towards that. You know, doing my research, and then everything just came to place. But
how old were you when that will happen?
18 or 19.
18, 19. Okay. And then why did you choose New York and why Strasbourg?
I don't know why New York. I think just me and my friend. I guess we had we knew that it was a good place to study acting and creative writing. You know, respectively. And I don't know why we chose NYU.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why. But Strasbourg was because, you know, when you do the summer session in NYU, you have to choose your conservatory. So they just gave you a list of the conservatories. I remember Adler was there. I remember there was a Meisner one. There were a couple of other ones, and Strasbourg was just the one that I related to the most. When I read it, I'm like, okay, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want, and that was it.
And what was your experience of Strasbourg's method? How did it work for you, and what did you learn, and what was the kind of biggest lesson, I guess, you took away from it?
I would say maybe getting out of my shell, not being afraid of being private in front of an audience, because I think that's something that's hard. You know, when you have to. I remember the private moments. That was a tough exercise to do. And then also just getting to know myself, you know, battling with my, you know, confronting my own demons, so to speak. You know, every time I did place, you know, each one of these exercises brought something out of me. Then that you know, it was scary and hard, but at the end of the day, it was the best thing I ever did. You know, it was sort of my therapy in a way.
And what particular exercises you touched upon? Obviously, sense memory stuff, and that kind of brought out a lot. Were they and private moment? Were there anything else or any other classes that you were like, this really helped me?
I mean, every class had its own sort of thing, but I think our acting classes were the basic ones.
Yeah,
that's where you actually spent sometimes an hour or more doing these relaxation exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also the audition classes were good because it showed you the business side. You know, it was sort of art versus industry. You gotta find a balance between both of them.
I think so. You do, yeah, absolutely. And why do you think what you do as an artist is so important within culture and society?
I mean, because everybody needs art. You know, art is a way to escape your own reality. It's tapping into something deep inside you that you can't really express yourself a lot of times. You know, that's why people you sort of, you're captivated by artists and by film and by paintings and by music, because it says something about you that you sometimes didn't even know yourself. It's weird, but it's not only that. People need something. People need something to do, man, and we're entertainers. You know, what we provide is that. You know, we you know, you watch our film and then you're satisfied. You know, you learned something. You felt something, and you can appreciate your own life. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said earlier about how you see a piece of art, be it music, be it painting, be it play, be it movie, or whatever it is, and you see something in there about yourself that you didn't even realize. And I guess people consume art to see themselves. They go to themselves, essentially.
Yeah. That's why sometimes when they meet the artist, they feel like they know the person already, and it's a weird sensation. Sometimes you know, people don't want to meet their idols, because when you see them as a human, and not sort of as a reflection of yourself. He can be someone that's completely different to you.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then me and Elliot spoke about it briefly as well. When you play a character, how much of that character is you?
I mean, what I would say is it's going to be me under that character's circumstances, you know, because if I play you, for example, I'm always going to be Chris, you know, but Chris, if I was a British man, son of Pakistani immigrants, da, 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 da. But I feel like, I mean, that's why when different actors do the same character, it's always different. You know, you can't do, I mean, you're always going to be yourself. I was reading something like that today in a book I'm reading, that the stories you tell, even though it's a story about someone else, it's your own story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if in my screenplay, you know, I'm writing a script, if you're in my screenplay, or the memory I have of you, it's you, but it's also me.
It's your
that
your
character.
construction of the experience you had with me, or the experience of me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then, what's the one biggest thing you took away from drama school?
One biggest thing I took away. I mean,
Yeah, just the biggest lesson you learned.
Biggest lesson I learned.
And that relates to, I mean, that's quite a general question. I mean, in relation.
I know, but I'm not sure if I did learn a lesson. You know, it's weird. It was a great experience, and I don't know. Maybe I learned so many lessons that I can't even pinpoint one. You know, but a lot of the lessons didn't even have to do with the acting classes. A lot of the lessons were just about breathing and living that sort of society in New York. Just having other students that want the same thing as you, that's already sort of a lesson. And seeing all these people.
Yeah.
I remember seeing these students that were 50 years old, and I'm like, shit, man, these guys, they had a whole career and they dropped everything because they want to be an actor. You know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and it's very admirable, but it's also, I don't know, it's a bit sad that you know, there's a lot of people that want this so bad, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. I think so too. And I think the sad part about it is that it took 50 years for them to realize this is what they should be doing, and then they finally do it. Whether it's a lack of self-confidence, whether it's circumstances, financial.
Maybe the parents, you know. I had some of the students there, they were, you know, 30-something-year-olds, and they had to finish their law degree or whatever. And after they finished that degree, they'd say, okay, now I'm going to study acting. Like, here's your degree. Now I'm going to do what I want. You know?
What's your take on, because that's the way society treats artists, I think, is that it's not a serious job. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to struggle for the rest of your life. And you're kind of looked down upon in society, I think. And what's your kind of experience being on it? Because the thing is, like, parents, they consume so much art, but they're not willing to support their kid to go and make that art. They're like,
right,
enjoy it, but we're not letting one of ours do it. It's too hard. We'll let somebody else's kid do it, and we'll still enjoy it. So what's your take on the way you've been treated in society, based on the choice you've made, which is obviously acting or any creative field?
Well, I mean, I get it both ways. You know, some people really admire it and say, wow, like I remember, like, even like a lot of Dominicans, when I came back in the airport and I put in the little immigration papers that I'm an actor, they're like, oh, good for you, man, and you're so lucky. And I'm like, and not actually, no, because this is a really hard industry, you know, and you got to struggle a lot, you know. But at least, you know, it's sort of, I don't know, it's a weird, I don't know, because so it's that it's like, oh, this is very admirable, and then it's also the oh, you're that kind of a guy, you know, you're just a privileged little dude, and that's good, you know, do whatever you want because you always have something to fall back on, which isn't true, you know. This is the people that do it are because, you know, you have to have sort of a vocation, you know, for it. It's sort of a calling, you know. There are people that just give it a shot because they can. And you know, good on them. But most of us are actually risking a lot.
Yeah.
career wise, relationship wise. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to have any sort of stability. That's why we do these promo jobs and waiter jobs and fucking English teacher jobs, because it's there's no stability in this industry. Even people that are successful, they have 6 months that they do amazing, and then they have maybe a year that they don't do shit, and they start getting worried. It's
because you don't know when your next paycheck is. I wrote this thing just before I came on, actually. I don't know if you've ever heard it, if I've ever shared this with you. Well, I never wrote it just before I came on, but I pulled it up just to have ready. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. Actors are some of the most driven, courageous people on the face of the earth. They deal with more day-to-day rejection in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime. Every day, actors face the financial challenge of living a freelance lifestyle, the disrespect of people who think that they should get real jobs, and their own fear that they will never work again. Every day, they have to ignore the possibility that the vision to which they have dedicated their lives to is a pipe dream. With every year passing, many watch their other people their age achieve predictable life milestones, predictable milestones, of a normal life: the car, the family, the house, nest egg, etc., etc. But staying true to their dream in spite of sacrifices. Why? Because actors are willing to give their entire lives to a moment, to that line, to that laugh, to the gesture, all that interpretation that will stir the audience's soul. Actors are beings who have tasted life's nectar in the crystal moment when they poured out their creative spirit and touched another heart. In that instance, they knew they were as close to magic, God, perfection, whatever you want to call it, that they could ever be. And in their own hearts, they know that to dedicate oneself to that moment is worth 1,000 lifetimes.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I never wrote that. I'm joking.
No.
It's by David.
But it's true.
You wrote for the LA Times, and I think that sums up actors so well. And I think I agree with what you said as well. The fact that kind of you get 50-50, don't you? You get some people like, oh, good on you, like good for doing it, but they do. I feel they do it at an arm's length though. So they're like, that's very cool, but you're probably poor. You're probably doing a shit. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's admirable, but I don't know if you'll be in the same circle as me. And it's just like, well,
yeah. It's weird.
It is, yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. And when they ask, it's just weird, man.
And then I get that a lot as well. You mentioned earlier about the whole kind of, the assumption that we're so privileged because we were afforded the ability to go to a drama school or an art school.
Right. Yeah, or even the fact that I've lived in other countries. People think that it's because you're so privileged. I'm like, no, man. I just planified this and I saved money for it and I created a budget. You just have to work towards it, and you'll get there. If you think it's impossible, like, oh no, I'm never good. Like that's not like you did this because of this and this reason. No, man. Like if you say, okay, this is where I want to go. Just thinking, just picturing yourself there already sort of paves the way a little bit. Now each thing you do is towards that goal.
It's true. I think a lot of people, as you said, just see it as like an impossible dream, and they have certain.
Because it's also a thing of this generation. People want to go from level 1 to level 90. They don't want to go through all the levels. They want to be successful. Boom. That's what they want to do. What I want to do is be a boss. I want to be a boss. I want to be rich. What do you love? I love money. Like, damn, man. But this is not the way you like. That's part of it. But what you should love is being your own boss or having your own company, being a lawyer, being a great lawyer, whatever. Being an actor. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Especially Strasbourg, I thought there was a lot of kids that were like, I want to be an actor, like to be famous and that. And it's just like, well, that's not part of it, I don't think. Like, if you want to be rich, do business. Like, be a good lawyer, as you said. Do something that will actually get you money. This doesn't get you money until, like, 2% of people make it, and that's because I think 2% of actors are genuinely serious about doing it because they have the right intentions. That this is what feeds my soul. This is what kind of makes me happy. Therefore, I'm just going to continue.
And why the hell do they want to be famous? Like, what is it that's so attractive about that to them? Is it that that everybody knows them? Like, what's?
It's weird, and even like the whole term, like, and from the outside as well. People looking at movie stars, and me and Evan spoke about it briefly as well. They're like, "Oh, you look like a movie star, this and that, blah blah." When somebody's dressed up, and it's like actors are the trampiest people in the world. Like, I don't dress up to go anywhere. I hate dressing up. If I have to dress up, I'll go and dress up. And even the ones that went to school with this that have done well, like whenever they go to premieres, yeah, they wear a suit or whatever. But that's because they get paid to wear a suit. But out of choice, actors don't. That's not what actors are. Actors are not like flashy people. From the outside, it seems it, doesn't it? I think from deep down as an actor, that's not your intention to be an attention seeker, I guess.
No, but there are all sorts of actors, just like there are all sorts of any type of professional.
No, I'm talking about proper actors, like proper artists, rather than like just fuck it, yeah. But yeah, and then having left obviously drama school, you've done bits and bobs here and there. How's your experience been in terms of your ethnicity and the way you get cast, and your experience just within the industry based on the question being, how's your ethnicity affected your experience in the industry?
Well, I mean, just the fact that I'm light skinned and I can easily pass for European, that opens a lot of doors for me, but that actually closes some doors for some roles, because when they look for example, when they look for a mixed race character, they're thinking of the sort of the idyllic or typical mixed race person, which is, blue eyes, sort of your color skin, blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of that what people deem as the perfect of both worlds. And, it's not always like that. Even though I don't look that mixed race, I am mixed race. And some people, there's all sorts of mixes, there's a whole spectrum of mixes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, yeah, it depends on the country. In Mexico, I was typecast as a different thing than in Spain. In Spain, I was more Latino. And whereas in Mexico, I was more either a Mexican rich kid or American or European, because it's funny because they think they see you as what differentiates you from the other part of my identity. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm Dominican and Irish. So when I'm in the Dominican Republic, people see me as more Irish. And when I'm in Ireland, people see me as more Dominican. So they see what's different about you. Of course, they're not going to see the Irishness in me, because they're going to automatically see what's different. Oh, this guy, you have this and this and that, and so you look Dominican. You look like your father. And then here they would say, oh no, you got this and this and this. You look like your mother.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah, so it's been a mix, because you went New York, back to DR, then you went Argentina. Then you went UK, then Spain.
Yeah, UK, Spain, and then Mexico.
Okay, and that's kind of how your experiences were in those places. And then, where does, as a writer and as an actor, I guess to some degree, where does your source of inspiration come from? Yeah, what inspires you to write?
Well, movies and books, I would say. I'd say ever since I've been reading a lot more in these past few years than I ever have, and I think that inspires me to write, because every story. I think you were saying that in your interview with Elliot. I think every story. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought. But like every time I write, I see a good movie, or I read a good chapter in my book, it inspires me to tell my own story. It gives me the courage to write my own stories, because these stories that's what you were saying in one of your interviews. The stories are usually very private, intimate, things about your life. That something needs you to express it in paper, or that's why painters paint. I guess it's their way of expression. So yeah, it's just as an actor, I don't get the chance to express myself as I want to, because you have to depend on other auditions, movie projects, a role for you, that kind of stuff. Whereas writing, you can really express your own
self. Yeah. And in terms of your writing, have you found what stirs your soul, where that inspiration comes from?
I guess my own life.
But what in particular? Have you found like from what part of your life is it that? What's the spine of your stories, basically?
I have no idea, man. I want to know. I mean, maybe this is why I want to write them, because I want to sort of solve a mystery about myself that I'm not quite sure of, and sometimes it's scary, but I want to see it through.
And what stage are you at, or what have you discovered so far, and how have you gone about it? For anybody watching that wants to write, I guess, have you used a sort of a guideline as to how to get to your spine?
I mean, I've decided of an overall sort of theme. I think one of the themes of these two scripts, it's not the theme of the script, but it's sort of my theme is death. Okay, so these are movies about maybe some sort of death that happened in my life. It can be a death of childhood, death of a loved one, physical death, and then sort of emotional death and a rebirth of sort of letting go of who you, getting to know who you really are, and letting go who you thought you were, or who you thought you needed to be.
Yeah. I can't wait. I really can't wait to read your work, because like I've seen bits you've written and stuff, and you were going to translate it into English, and we spoke about it briefly, didn't we, a while ago?
Right,
you know what? I've not said this to you, right? But do you remember when you texted me ages ago?
I don't remember.
You were like, "You still writing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I still write," because I must have put on my Instagram story. I was like,
"Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was it." Yeah.
And then you're the one who started this off, actually, because I would always write with like a few people that I know, and I'd do one-to-ones on Skype or whatever, and we'd work on stuff. And then I'd gone quiet for a little bit. I was just like not writing at that particular time. I kind of took a little bit of a break. And then you messaged me, and I think you might have been drunk or whatever. I should be, yeah. I'm not at the moment, but I should be. Yeah, I am writing. What's up?
That was like in December, no?
Yeah, it was end of last year. And I was like, shit, what am I doing? And then you were like, are you still writing? I'm like, yeah, I should be, but I'm not at the moment. But yeah, I am. And then we started talking about it, didn't we? And then we were like, let's start connecting and stuff regularly and start talking about stuff. And then we had a few phone calls. And then I spoke to Jacques as well. And then, yeah. So that's what really sparked everything, I think. And then my New Year's resolution, I guess, was to write more. And then I started writing, and then we started speaking more, me and you one-to-one, and then me and Jacques one-to-one, and then Alex and Alyssa I started speaking to quite regularly as well. And then that kind of made me get back on it. So yeah. Thank you for that, Chris.
Funny, man. It's funny how a night of drunken debauchery can turn into this.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously lockdown happened, and then we did the reading of 1931, and I messaged you because we started speaking quite a lot, because we always regularly spoke, didn't we? Like every
now and then.
We'd always message saying, how's it going? How are you? Kind of thing. And then this kind of, I guess, put us back in contact again properly, and then we started speaking a lot more. And then, yeah, we just started kind of, and then 1931, we did the reading of that, didn't we? And then I was like, well, I spoke to you quite regularly. Then I was like, hey, do you want to do it? And then you were like, yeah, cool. And then we started speaking. And then at the end of it, we had that conversation. And then we were like, we should do this more often. And do you know what? I've always wanted to do it, but I never thought I could get a group of people to agree to something like this. Because I was like, nah, people just be too busy.
Yeah, correct.
Just on it, and it was good. So yeah. So thanks for that, Chris. You're responsible for everything.
I mean, I think you got to stop just questioning yourself and questioning the reason why you do things. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't think. I think everything you feel like you need to do, you should just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and think about the consequences afterwards. You know.
That's it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm starting to piece things back together again. So yeah, that's how it all. Yeah. And then for you, kind of, what goes next in terms of where you want to go and what you want to do, both writing and acting?
Well, I'm writing my script,
Mm-hmm.
so I've got two scripts I'm working on. One in English and one in Spanish.
The Spanish ones, right? You were going to try.
No way, because it's just, it doesn't translate. You know, I can't do. It just can't be like no. I can't make the Dominican characters speak English. I can't make them English characters, for example. It doesn't work that way. Plus, that experience, that particular script, the Spanish one, is about a moment in my life when I was living in Dominican Republic. Okay. So it's all about the sort of middle class high school system here, the sort of caste system, that because we live in a caste system that we inherited from the colonial times, you know, where depending on your racial makeup, you get certain privileges or lesser privileges. You know? I don't know why I'm talking about this. No. Yeah, I'm writing those two scripts, and I want to learn how to direct. I think that's my next order of business.
Yeah. And then if you come to London next year, once this is all over, 1931, hopefully, if everything aligns, then you're coming to work on that with us, aren't you?
Oh yeah, for sure, and you know, I can learn to direct over there as well. You know, it doesn't. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to create my own projects. That's what I've always wanted to do. Ideally, what I've always wanted to do is make my own movies. You know, write my own movies, tell my own stories. Whether it's financing my own stories or making them myself, writing them myself. So I'm not giving destiny a chance, man. I'm doing everything.
You have to 100%.
I'm learning everything. So because this is my idea. I don't have to, you know, some people are sort of hell-bent into doing something, and you can't really force a door that doesn't want to open.
Yeah.
You know, if the door is shut, try another door or do something else, you know. But my thing is that if I can do something that I'm passionate about, I'll be happy. And unfortunately, film is one of those things. So that you can give me whatever you want, but it's going to be related to film, music, and food. So ideally, I want to combine those three.
Amazing. And then, being of mixed heritage, when you write, whose experience do you write from an experience of a mixed race person, or do you sway one way or the other, or how do you? I wouldn't even have the faintest idea, like where do you go as a mixed race person, as to what experience you go down, and you have your mind telling you one thing that you can't write about this side of your heritage because of X, Y, and Z, and you can't write about this side. So how do you navigate that?
Well, you know, Dominicans, we're not shy about uncomfortable conversations. I think that's the thing about third world countries. Like we're not shy about saying this shit. Like, oh yeah, you know, like Haitians colonized us, and then there was a slave system here where the whiter you were, the more privilege you had. Okay, so these and you know, it's, I don't know. There's a different type of racism here in this country. You know, here there's sort of an idea of wanting to whiten the race. I know in Pakistan and India it's the same thing. You want to make your child to be lighter skinned if possible, because they understand that the child's life might be easier that way. But that's just because we see we see from the eyes of the Americans and Europeans, and we say, oh, these fuckers are so racist, so we have to play this fucking game.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it's a bit pathetic. It's a bit pathetic, you know, because I think this is where I want to go with this. When I identify myself, because they see me as someone who's a better version of a Dominican because I'm half European, you know, which is like, dude, why are you hating on your own? You're hating your own self. You're like a self-hating, you're a self-hating brown man. Like what, like what the fuck, dude? Why do I have to be the one to tell you, no, bro, no, like that's a very stupid and ignorant way of thinking. But in a way they were conditioned that way. You know, like I know my father was relieved that I came out light-skinned instead of dark-skinned.
Yeah.
But then my mother was disappointed because my mother wanted that perfect mixed baby, you know, with blue eyes, blonde hair, and dark skin. And I came out with dark eyes, light skin, and brown hair. So I came out the opposite of what she wanted.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea that it doesn't really fucking matter, you know. And at the end of the day, I'm a Dominican more than a mixed race person. I don't know. I've never felt like that divides me, you know. Sometimes I've used it at my advantage, you know. I've used the fact that I'm Latino in Europe to get some privileges, and I've used my light skinnedness in Dominican Republic to get some stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to give Dominicans a voice more than mixed race people.
Okay.
You know,
I think that's a powerful.
Although I also want to give a voice, and this is an overall theme in my scripts. You know, people who are mixed race that don't look like the idyllic mixed race. You know, whether you look white or black, they categorize you in that square, and only mixed race people understand this. Like, no, like this is not who I am, even though you see me that way. And it used to piss me off. You know, it used to really piss me off where here in this country, they'd call me blondie or white boy. And then in Europe, I'd be a spick or an Arab. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, that's, you put me in that square and I have to be what you say I am. I don't know. It's a very weird feeling, you know, and you have to play that. You're not allowed to be, so I've made my peace with that. You know, what I look like is not what I am. Yeah. So I have to make my peace. Everybody thinks I look from somewhere fucking else. You know, oh, you look French. Oh, you look Turk. Oh, you look Spanish. Oh, you look Algerian. Oh, you look like a coked up Colombian. Oh, you look Cuban. Oh, you look Venezuelan. You know, like no, man. Like I'm Dominican and Irish. It's a weird mixture. I'll give you that. You know. But it's a mixture nevertheless, and you should just say, oh, okay, yes. Fair enough. You kind of look French, but yeah, all right, I get it. You know?
Yeah, I think that's a powerful thing to write about, just the situation with mixed race people and how they're pushed and shoved around in a way. So
yeah, you're sort of you have to pick a team, you know.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, you've got to pick a team, and I think to a certain. I get a little bit of it because being Pakistani and being brought up in Britain, you kind of have to pick a team. Or like when you go over there, you're British, but when you're here, you're like Pakistani. And you're kind of, I guess, it's about creating your own identity based on who you are, rather than heritage that you have no control over, and just based on qualities of a person, rather than like, you know, which country you know your parents originate from or where you brought up and stuff. So yeah,
but I mean, those things are interesting. You know, I love asking people, you know, where they're from. You know, like in England, there are a lot of people that have Irish mixed with something else. So you'd find an Irish mixed with Nigerian, Irish with Jamaican, and I find that really interesting. Like, oh, like how the hell did they meet? What sort of stuff have you taken from each culture? You know, because this is something that I went through as well, and I find interesting. But it's all in the tone as well, because this is the thing, you know, and this is why Dominicans, we don't shy away from these conversations. So here they just ask, oh, are you a gringo or what? Like no, man. But they don't say it in a demeaning way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, why the fuck are you so white if you're Dominican? I'm like, well, my mother's really white, and then my father is mulatto, so I sort of came out this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get a lot of sun, and I look whiter, and sometimes I get sun and I look darker. It's sort of like have you seen people with green eyes that sometimes their eyes look more blue, depending on the weather?
Yeah.
I think that mixed people are like that as well. There are some days that I look more Dominican, and some days that I look more Irish. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess your color fluctuates, doesn't it? It's same with me as well. Like, we're from like northern Pakistan, so we're a little bit lighter compared to people that live in like hotter states.
Right.
If I stay out in the sun, I remember we used to go to Long Beach when I was in New York, and I'd come back and I'd be like super brown. People are like, "Where did you go?" I'm like, "Beach." They're like, "Oh, we thought you went on holiday." I'm like, "No," because my color, I guess, fluctuates. Like it gets darker and really light as well at the same time. But
right. Which is a thing of the mixer, that's why Dominicans can get really, really white when they're in Europe. Their skin sort of discolorates. We sort of get from our European ancestry when we're there. It's sort of part of evolution. And then when we're in the Caribbean, then the hair starts getting a little nappy, and the skin starts getting a little tanner. And you can take the humidity better. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how the body adapts.
It does, yeah.
And that's basically it. The only reason people in the Caribbean are darker than in Europe is because there's more sun. That's it.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you any different qualities. That doesn't make me a good swimmer. That doesn't make me good at mowing lawns. That doesn't make me good at trafficking drugs. These are bad stereotypes that people use. There are great stereotypes as well, like good dancer, good cooks. But you can find a Dominican who's black, who's a bad dancer. It can happen.
Yeah.
So,
stereotypes are just oversimplified judgments of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just...
And they can be funny, but it has to be funny, and these jokes, they bring up a different, a conversation afterwards. You laugh about it now, but then you say, you know what?
Yeah.
I fucked up.
True. It's very true. That is true. Right, Chris, we're coming up to an hour. It's been an interesting chat. Got to know you a lot better as well. The first questions, I'm sorry about those. I'll make sure.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, man. I feel like all my answers have been really weird.
No, they've been amazing, honestly. I'm talking about the first 10, the Bernard Pivot ones. You weren't a fan of those. I'll make sure I note that.
It's just, I don't know why. I've never been good at just pick one.
Yeah.
There are always things that I like about everything.
Yeah. That's good. That's cool. Thank you for the last hour, Chris. It's been emotional. It's been really good. And this is the longest we speak quite regularly, but this is quite a long chat we've had for a very long time.
At least sober, yeah.
Yeah. But that's cool, Chris. I'll let you head off. Thank you for turning up and just like having so much to talk about, and I look forward to kind of reading your work as well. And I can't wait for you to get some stuff made, man.
Yeah, man. Same here. Same for you.
Yeah, Chris. Right. I'll let you go. Take care.
Take care, buddy.
See you soon, man. See ya.